Hi, I would like to share with you a bit of scripture. It's from 2 Kings chapter 13, starting with verse 14. Now Elisha was fallen sick of his sickness, whereof he died. And Joash the king of Israel came down up unto him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And Elisha said unto him, Take bow and arrows. And he took unto him bow and arrows. And he said unto the king of Israel, Put your hand on a bow. And he put his hand upon it, and Elisha put his hands upon the king's hands. And he said, Open the window eastward. He opened it. And then Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. And he said, The arrow of the Lord's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria, for he shall smite the Syrians in Aphek, and to consume them. And he said, Take the arrows. And he took them, and he said unto the king of Israel, Smite upon the ground. And he smote thrice, and he stayed. And the man of God was wroth with him, and he said, You should have smitten 5 or 6 times, then had you smitten Syria, and to had consumed it. Whereas now he shall smite Syria but thrice. And Elisha died, and they buried him, and the bands of Moabites invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that behold, they spied a band of men, and they cast the man into the sepulchre of Elisha. And when the man was let down and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood upon his feet. But Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoahaz, and the Lord was gracious unto them, and had compassion on them, and had respect unto them, because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them, neither cast he them from his presence as of yet. So Hazael, the king of Syria, died, and Ben-Hadad, his son, reigned in his stead. And Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, took again out of the hand of Ben-Hadad, the son of Hazael, the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoahaz his father by war. 3 times did Joash beat him, and recover the cities of Israel. Now, the thing I want to bring up from the scriptures right there is that, well, first of all, this is an event that took place near the end of Elisha's, the Elisha the prophet's ministry, and also the end of his life. I mean, Elijah, his predecessor, had already gone up to heaven in a whirlwind, but Elisha died. He was through a few kings at this point, and he is now. I mean, this is now now this was the king of Joash, who is the son of Jehoahaz, who is the son of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, and as you read in Scripture, Jehu overthrew Ahab's kingdom. Ahab had already died, but one of his sons was killed by Jehu, and also Queen Jezebel was killed by being thrown out a window, and Baal worship was had ended in that time, and Elisha, Elisha, when he was dying, tells the king to take bow and arrows, and he took to him bow and arrows, and he said to the king of Israel, Put your hand on the bow, and he put his hand upon it, and Elisha put his hands upon the king's hands, and he said, Open the window eastward, and he opened it, and Elisha said, Shoot, and he shot an arrow, and he said, That's the arrow of the Lord's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria, for he shall smite the Syrians in Aphek, and to consume them. And he said, Take the arrows, and he took him, and he said unto the king of Israel, Smite upon the ground, and then he smote 3 times, and then he stopped, and And the man of God was angry with him, and he said, "You should have smitten for the ground 5 or 6 times, and then you would have smitten Syria until he consumed it. Whereas now he shall only smite Syria 3 times." I mean, the king, king of Israel was told to strike arrow, to smite upon the ground with the arrows, but he wasn't told. But I wasn't told how many times he had to do that. So he only did it 3 times, and Elisha was expecting him to keep striking the ground, and saying that that if he kept striking the ground, that would have been a sign that you would end up ultimately destroying Syria. But now you only will strike Syria 3 times, and when we see at the end of the chapter, in verse 25, Jehoash the son of Jehoahaz took in out of him Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoahaz his father by war. 3 times Joash did beat him, and he recovered the cities of Israel. So there are only, Jehoash only got 3 victories, and Syria continued to be a threat to Israel until eventually the Assyrians conquered them, and then eventually the Syrians conquered the kingdom of Israel. This is basically a lesson that we need to learn, that we not settle for limited victory. That we can only do up to so far when it comes to conquering things in our lives like sin. We need to continually strike and strike and strike and strike and strike. I know it sounds like Paula White during that 2020 election night video, that we got to strike and strike and strike and strike until we have complete victory. Because the enemy is not going to let up, and he's going to keep striking at us until the enemy has victory. And we can't let the enemy have victory over our lives. That's why we got to make sure we keep our quiver full of arrows, and that we need to keep striking the enemy with our prayers and stuff, and to live holy and godly lives, and that's how we can have victory over the enemy. Because if we don't have victory, then enemy is going to have victory over us. And that's pretty much where I'll leave you in this video. So have a good day, and may God bless you.